Dylan Brown. He has been picked up by the Newcastle Knights, and they have offered him a whopping $13 million deal. Dylan Brown has confirmed that he's set to sign the richest deal in NRL history with a $13 million 10-year deal to leave Parramatta.
Yep.
The Eels playmaker will join the Newcastle Knights until the end of 2035, as it was first reported by News Corp. Now, it has come out recently that after he signed, there was a clause in the contract that after 8 years, there is a pull-out scheme. Bro, what do you think of 24-year-old Dylan Brown signing $13 million with the Newcastle Knights?
Money talks, huh?
Big time.
Now, I know that... Look, I think for Newcastle, it's a decent signing. To get someone like Dylan Brown, who's a really good six, I think he's a really good player. To get him into their side, that'll actually help him a lot, I think would be a great deal. The problem that I have with it all is that Newcastle don't know how to spend their cap properly. Now, we know that the deal was done. We know that he's actually signed the deal. And he's looking to move forward there next year. He's confirmed that. It's been reported by Parramatta as well as Newcastle. And the press release has been released on that. So, while I do know that he's signed and everything else, whether it's a good fit for the club, I mean, it could be. In the sense of where they could probably attract more players to come to the club to play with Ponga and Brown. 13 million is the big question mark. Now, the problem I have with that money... Hey?
Is he worth that? $13 million,
No.
mate. That's ridiculous.
So he'd be the highest paid player. So...
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, so if... Because how I look at it is, if you're giving someone like Dylan Brown 1.3 mil, then I'd look at the... so what's his name? Nathan Cleary?
Yeah.
He's easily worth 2 million.
100%.
If you're going off those things of what he's done in the game. Dylan Brown hasn't done much in the game, aside from play international and play at Para. Look, I know that Newcastle are trying to rebuild. I know they've got a lot of money in the cap to rebuild. But 13 million, like I know you got to pay overs for players, but I feel like that's way too over for Dylan Brown. And I feel like at a time where Dylan Brown should really be showcasing his ability, now for Para, he's not doing that. So it leaves me the question mark of, will he go and make a difference at 7 in Parramatta? Now, there have been many legends across the game who have kind of said that, you know, he's a good player, he's a great six, he's one of the best sixes in the game. As a 7, he's not a 7. So, did Newcastle really spend 13 million on a 6? Because they've struggled since Andrew Johns to find a proper 7. They've got like 5, 6, 7 halves at the moment at their club. They've got Jackson Hastings, who's on the outer, who is now become a ball playing lock in New South Wales Cup on $850 a year. They've got Will Price from the Super League, who's a 6, who now they're shopping around. They've got Jack Cogger, who was signed from Penrith 2 years ago. Since he won the comp with them, has done absolutely nothing. They've put Fletcher Sharp from the wing to the halves. So far, he's looked okay. Not amazing, but he's looked okay. I mean, Dylan Brown coming in still doesn't solve their 7 issue. I don't think he's worth the money. I think it's a good signing for Newcastle, but I don't think at that money he's worth that much. And there was even talk that they were going to make Fletcher Sharp a halfback and keep Dylan Brown at 5'8". So already the signing seems a bit stupid.
Yeah.
But look, money talks. At the end of the day, we can sit here and absolutely slam him for going, but NRL, you only get a short window to make the most of your opportunities. And the fact that he'll get 13 million over 10 years, after 8 years he gets to negotiate, that's guaranteed 1.3 million a year for 8 years. I don't think he's dumb. I think he'll obviously use that money wisely, and to get paid that much, he can look after his family back home in New Zealand. For him, I'm happy for him. I'm actually genuinely happy for him.
Listen, on the Dylan Brown scenario, mate, he's done the right thing. Mate, 1.3 per year, at least 8 years, for sure, go for it.
Yeah.
He's done the right thing as a player, as a family man, everything. I think what this shows is there is a massive problem at Newcastle.
Yeah.
Ever since the days of Andrew Johns, they have been struggling to find a winning culture there. And it looks like they're trying to throw money at anything and anyone to try and fix that problem.
Yep.
But I think their big problem isn't in getting one great player here, one great player there, and throwing money all over the joint. I think it's a culture issue.
Yeah.
I think if they don't fix that culture issue, the Newcastle Knights are never going to see final season.
Yeah, so I think the last time they would have had bit of success was the times where Wayne Bennett was coaching them.
Yep.
Since then, it's all gone to rubbish. So, does Dylan Brown go and answer their problems? No. But it could be the start of things to come in attracting decent players to Newcastle so that they don't have to pay extreme overs and then hopefully get them into finals contention at that point. I don't think anyone's disputing the fact that Dylan Brown signed with Knights. Everyone's just disputing the money. But I like it. I mean, like I said, it's good for Dylan Brown. And he came out saying he didn't want to leave Parramatta, but, you know, they wouldn't come to terms with what he was looking for. But, I mean, when you get the financial security like that, how can you really turn it down?
100%. But, Stat, let me ask you, where does a deal like this come from? How does this happen? How does a club have the audacity to pull out big money like that? Granted, they got it in the salary cap, but where do they come up with a figure like that? Because this is game-changing stuff. This is going to change the NRL forever.
Yeah. How they come up with those figures, I couldn't tell you. I don't think it's wise. I know that Melbourne have a massive system that they've got in when it comes to offering players deals that are coming from other clubs, even re-signing. They put a bunch of their stats in this sort of, from my understanding, it's like this sort of machine that kind of spits out what a player is worth.
Calculator.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's like a calculator, financial calculator of what they're worth based on their experience, what they've achieved in the game, what value they can bring, and everything else. Storm have it all figured out. Now, Newcastle have gone to great lengths, and I think they've done this on the basis of desperation. They're desperate to get a big name. Aside from money, what's attractive about Newcastle? The place is a dump.
You're telling me, mate.
Yeah, well, you would know. If anyone knows, you would know. You lived there for a couple of years. The place is a dump. So to attract high-quality players, you got to throw big money. Ponga's on about 1.2, 1.1. I mean, they didn't get Ponga there because Newcastle's a great city to be in. They got him there because money talks. Desperation. So I think it was on the back of desperation that they signed Dylan Brown. And if he doesn't perform the way they want him to perform, it's going to be a 10-year headache, at least, for the Newcastle Knights. And at least 8 years, considering that they're in this position.
I just think that this has set a precedent for all player managers. As soon as they saw that deal get signed, they were frothing.
Oh, yeah.
Because whoever they're managing, whoever they've got in their books, they are just going to go and fight so much harder to keep their player happy and get them the most money.
And they'll get a bigger cut.
100%.
So that's why they're going to do it. They don't really care. I don't think they care about the player. I think they care about more the fact they get more money in their pocket.
Nah, if you know anything about player managers, they don't care about the spirit of the game whatsoever.
Nah, they're dogs.